Hey everybody, this is Brad Rourke with Rockville Living, tech editor. We're living the good life in Rockville, Maryland, and today I'm with Eric Jensen, my good friend and one of my favorite photographers in town. Eric, how are you?
Doing great.
I'm so glad to see that you're here and glad you agreed to talk to me. So Eric is, I guess, a prosumer, which is not a pro, not just a consumer of photography gear, but sort of a high-end amateur photographer. Is that fair to say?
I think that's a good and accurate description. Yeah.
Excellent. And since this is the tech section of Rockville Living, we thought we'd talk to Eric a little bit about some of his favorite gear, how he got into it, tips and tricks, things to think about, important accessories, that kind of thing. So, Eric, for starters, let's just start with the camera.
Okay.
So you've got, I've got like this camera.
Right.
Right.
And that's a Nikon.
It's a Nikon.
Cool pics. Yeah.
You don't have one. Well, maybe you have one of these, but we're not talking about this kind of thing. What are we talking about when we're talking about a prosumer camera?
Well, just to give you a little bit of a background, I got my first digital camera in 1996. And this was before there were any digital SLRs or cameras like we have today. They didn't have memory cards. They didn't have any of that type of thing. And I saw at that point in time that there was a real opportunity to be able to use these cameras to hopefully at some point in time be able to replace film with these cameras, and that definitely all has come true, which has been great.
Now, had you been shooting film before?
I was shooting film.
Okay.
I was using a Canon A1. I love that camera. I had it for years. It was at a time when you bought a camera like that, you had that camera forever.
Mm-hmm.
And today that changes. And since 1996, I've had 5 different digital cameras. The first one that I had was less than 1 megapixel. The one that I have today is over 20 megapixels. So a lot has changed since then. A lot has improved. But the whole idea of taking pictures is the same as it was when you're using film photography, and the basic same principles apply. The biggest difference is that now you're able to take as many pictures as you want to. You don't have to worry about film costs, and you can review them, delete them, and all that type of thing in an instant if you want to. So
it's amazing because I remember when I was younger, I got into photography for a while, and you'd take the photos and then you'd wonder if they came out,
right,
and how you did, and so you do all these tests and you wouldn't find out for a week, and when you got the film developed. So
and then the other disadvantage was you'd get your film developed, and if you were a good photographer, maybe you wrote down what your settings were and how you took the photograph, what the lighting conditions were, but most people probably didn't do that type of thing. So you never really knew, you could never really learn from what you did unless you knew that information. Mm-hmm. Today, all that information is embedded in every single photograph that you take in something that's called EXIF data. And this particular data, when you look at it on a computer, you'll be able to see exactly what your shutter speed was, what your aperture settings were, and just tons of other data that can help you improve the way you take photographs in the future.
So that frees you up to be creative.
Frees you up to be creative and to learn from what you did well, learn from your mistakes, and eventually you just improve over time, I think.
What's the biggest? We'll get to your gear in just a second, but what's the biggest thing you've learned?
If you want to take good photographs, if you want to get some really, really great photographs, the best way to do it is to take a lot of them. Just take as many photographs as you possibly can, and you're going to get a great photograph. It's going to happen. And then once you get that great photograph, really look at it, really try to understand what is it about that photograph that you like. Is it the composition? Is it the lighting? Is it the way that you had the aperture setting, the shutter speed? All those things come into play in terms of what makes a really good photograph.